welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a story that blurs the lines between the living and the dead, a chilling yet ultimately heartwarming tale that asks the question, does love truly transcend the boundaries of life itself? Imagine a New Year's Eve, a moment of joy and anticipation, turning into unimaginable tragedy. For our storyteller, Sarah, that night in 1999 stole her husband, John, leaving her a young widow with a son to raise alone. Years passed, filled with the heavy weight of grief. Then, just when her son, Michael, began to succumb to the same darkness that claimed his father, something extraordinary began to happen. A series of mysterious phone calls shattered the silence of Sarah's home, a voice, raspy yet familiar, pleading with her to save her son. The caller? A voice she hadn't heard in years, a voice from beyond the grave. Get ready to unravel the unsettling mystery of Voices from the Dead, a story of loss, love, and a possible connection that defies explanation. Stick around, because this one will leave you questioning what lies beyond.
The clock ticked with agonizing slowness, each second an echo of the New Year's Eve that stole my life. December 31st, 1999. A night meant for celebration, reduced to a shattered kaleidoscope of blinding headlights, twisted metal, and the chilling finality of silence. John and I were driving back from a party, the remnants of laughter and champagne still swirling in my head. Snowflakes danced in the headlights, painting the familiar curves of the road home in a magical, almost ethereal light. It was the kind of night where you felt invincible, wrapped in the warmth of love and the promise of a fresh start. Then, the world exploded. A reckless blur of headlights veered into our lane. A horn blared, a desperate, futile cry against the inevitable. Then, impact. A screech of metal on metal, a sickening crunch, and then, nothing. I woke up in a stark white room, the sterile scent of antiseptic stinging my nostrils. The world swam in and out of focus, a blurry watercolor of concerned faces and hushed murmurs. A doctor, his face etched with a sympathy I didn't want, told me. An accident. I was lucky to be alive. John hadn't made it. Neither had the drunk driver who caused it all. The world tilted on its axis. My world. My John. Gone. Just like that. I was a widow, alone at 28, with a young son, Michael, who suddenly had no father. The grief was a living thing, a constant, gnawing presence that burrowed deep into my bones. Years bled into one another. I worked tirelessly, struggling to provide for Michael, trying to be both mother and father. I poured every ounce of my being into him, trying to shield him from the darkness that threatened to engulf us both. But the shadow of John's death loomed large, a constant reminder of the life that was stolen from us. Michael grew into a handsome young man, but the tragedy had left its mark. He was quiet, introspective, and carried a weight that no 21-year-old should have to bear. And then, the drinking started. At first, it was just occasionally, at parties, a typical youth experiment. But it escalated. The smell of stale beer clung to his clothes. His eyes became bloodshot and distant. His grades slipped. He was drowning his pain, the same pain that had threatened to drown me all those years ago. I tried talking to him, pleading with him, reasoning with him. I reminded him of his father, of the hopes and dreams John had for him. But my words seemed to bounce off a wall of grief and resentment. He was John's son, all right. Stubborn, hurting, and lost. Then, the phone calls started. It was an old landline, a relic from a time before cell phones and internet chats. It sat on a small table in the hallway, a silent witness to the life that had unfolded within these walls. The first call came late one evening. I was washing dishes, the clatter a monotonous rhythm against the silence of the house. The phone rang, startling me. Hello? I answered, wiping my hands on a dish towel. Silence. Just a low, static hum. Hello? Who is this? I asked again, a prickle of unease creeping up my spine. Then, a voice. Raspy, distorted, yet undeniably familiar. A voice that sent a shiver down my spine and made my heart pound in my chest. Sarah? It was John. It had to be. Despite the distortion, despite the years that had passed, I knew that voice. John? Is that you? I whispered, my voice trembling. Sarah, you need to stop him. You need to stop Michael. Stop him from what? John, where are you? How are you? My questions tumbled out, a desperate plea for answers. He's drinking, Sarah. He's going to end up like me. He's going to die in a car. Please, Sarah, stop him. The line went dead. Just like that. The dial tone buzzed in my ear, mocking my confusion and disbelief. I stood there, frozen, the dish towel clutched in my hand, the world spinning around me. I dismissed it as a cruel prank at first, a twisted joke played by someone who knew about John, about Michael, about our pain. But the calls continued. Night after night, the phone would ring, and John's voice, distorted and desperate, would plead with me to save Michael. The message was always the same: stop him from drinking, or he'll end up like me. The calls grew more frequent, more insistent. Sleep became a luxury I could no longer afford. Every ring of the phone sent a jolt of fear through me, a terrifying reminder of the past and a horrifying premonition of the future. I was losing my mind. I confided in my best friend, Emily. She listened patiently, her brow furrowed with concern. She suggested therapy, medication, anything to help me cope. But the calls, they were real. I knew it in my gut. Finally, I reported the calls to the telephone company. I explained the situation, my voice shaking, trying to convey the utter terror that gripped me. They were skeptical, of course, but they agreed to investigate. Days turned into weeks. I lived in a state of constant anxiety, every ring of the phone a hammer blow to my sanity. Michael's drinking was getting worse. He was sullen, withdrawn, and defiant. My attempts to reach him were met with anger and resentment. Then, one afternoon, 2 men from the telephone company came to my door. They were grim-faced and serious. "We've traced the calls, Mrs. Walker," one of them said. "We followed the line, but it's strange." They explained that the phone line led to the outskirts of town, to the old cemetery where John was buried. They had followed the line to its end, a twisted, severed wire lying on the cold, damp ground. The end of the wire was resting on a tombstone. John's tombstone. My breath caught in my throat. The world swam before my eyes. It couldn't be. It was impossible. Yet, here they were, telling me that the calls were coming from beyond the grave. I thanked them, numb with shock and disbelief. After they left, I walked to the cemetery. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. The sky was overcast, casting long, eerie shadows across the rows of tombstones. I found John's grave. The stone was weathered and worn, the inscription barely legible. I knelt down, placing my hand on the cold marble. A wave of grief washed over me, a familiar ache in my chest. The severed phone line lay there, a stark, undeniable reality. A tangible link between the living and the dead. I knew what I had to do. That evening, I sat Michael down in the living room. I told him everything. About the accident, about my grief, about his father. About the phone calls. He listened in stunned silence, his eyes wide with disbelief. When I finished, he didn't say anything for a long time. You think it's Dad? He finally asked, his voice barely a whisper. I don't know, Michael. But I do know that he wouldn't want you to end up like him. He loved you more than anything in the world. Tears welled up in his eyes. For the first time in a long time, I saw the little boy I had raised, the boy who had lost his father, the boy who was drowning in his own pain. I don't want to die, Mom, he sobbed. I don't want to end up like Dad. He agreed to get help. We found a therapist, someone who could help him process his grief and deal with his addiction. It was a long and difficult road, but he was determined. He wanted to honor his father's memory and live a life that would make his father proud of him. The phone calls stopped. Just like that. The silence was deafening at first, but slowly, gradually, it filled with the quiet hum of healing. Michael is doing well now. He's sober, focused, and determined to live a good life. He still misses his father, but he's learning to cope with the pain, to channel it into something positive. I still think about John. I visit his grave often, tending to the flowers and talking to him about Michael, about our lives. I don't know if the calls were real, if it was truly John reaching out from beyond the grave. But I do know that they saved Michael's life. Death is not the end. It's just a transition, a passage to another realm. And maybe, just maybe, love transcends even death. Maybe John was watching over us, guiding us, and protecting us in the afterlife. I found closure, not in understanding the mystery of the phone calls, but in the knowledge that John's love for Michael, and for me, was a force stronger than death itself. And maybe, someday, we will all be together again. Forever.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this incredible and chilling story. What are we to make of Voices from the Dead? It's a story that plunges us into the depths of grief, the terrifying grip of addiction, and the unsettling possibility of a connection that stretches beyond the veil of death. Think about Sarah's journey. She endured the unimaginable loss of her husband on what should have been a night of joy. She poured her life into raising her son, Michael, only to watch him grapple with his own pain in a destructive way. It's a stark reminder of how trauma can ripple through generations, leaving scars we might not even see. And then, those phone calls. Whether you believe they were a supernatural intervention or a manifestation of Sarah's deepest fears and hopes, their impact was undeniably real. They acted as a catalyst, a desperate plea from the past that jolted Sarah into action and ultimately helped Michael find his way back from the brink. This story makes you wonder, what are the forces that truly bind us? Is it just our physical presence, or is there something more? Could love and connection be so powerful that they transcend even death itself? Perhaps the mystery of the phone calls isn't the most important part. Maybe the real message lies in the enduring power of a parent's love, both in life and, just maybe, beyond. It's a testament to a mother's unwavering determination to save her child and a son's courage to confront his demons. If you've ever lost someone, or if you're struggling with your own pain, let this story remind you, you're not alone. Help is out there. Healing is possible. And love, especially the kind that binds families together, doesn't disappear when someone dies. Sometimes, it lingers, whispering through the static. Until next time, sweet dreams and sleep tight if you can. Hey, horror fans. If you enjoyed our chilling tale and want to keep the spine-tingling stories coming, don't forget to hit that like button. Your support keeps the darkness alive. Share this video with your friends, let's spread the fear together. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you never miss a hair-raising moment. Join our community of thrill seekers and prepare for more eerie adventures. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay scared.